Okay, looks like we are live. Hopefully the background volume isn't too loud. If it is, let me know and I'll turn it down. So hello everyone. Welcome to It Builds Character number, I want to say it's 16. So that's what I'm going with, is 16. My name is Ted. This is Nerd Immersion. Every Wednesday, with the exception of the past couple weeks due to extenuating circumstances. Sorry, I'm eating on stream like a noob. Anyway, where I build a character in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition that's a suggestion from you guys, the fans. This time around, someone asked me to build Shrek. So, we're gonna try our damnedest to build Shrek in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I can't find who... I looked around, and if you are and you show up live in the chat, be sure to call out if you were the one who suggested Shrek. I searched through the comments, and no one had suggested Shrek in the comments, so it must have been during one of the videos that it was suggested. So, without further ado, I present to you Shrek on It Builds Character. What's going on, Juice? How does it sound? How do I sound compared to the tunes in the background? How's my volume? Give me a heads up. I'm just trying to figure out... Okay, cool. I just don't want it to be overpowering. I think I just have it really loud in my headphones, but I think I successfully cranked it down on stream. So I feel like I have to yell, but I don't. So yes, tonight's It Builds Character. Again, we'll go over this towards the end. This is a weekly character building show where I design a character in 5th edition. And it is either my own design or a fan design. At the moment, the fan designs go through March of next year, I believe. So I have suggestions through March. I build pretty much everything that you guys ask. Thankfully, I'll say for the majority of them, with the exception of one or two, I'm aware of the source material, and in some cases, quite familiar with the source material, so it should make things a little bit easier. When I get an obscure anime character, or I guess just an anime that I haven't watched, it makes it a little bit more difficult, and anime characters are always trickier because they always have a million powers. But that being said, we'll see what goes on. So let's dive into building Shrek. A couple of things up front for those of you who are new to It Builds Character, or you're just coming back and you may have forgotten since it's been a little while since we've done it. We do a couple of things here. We try to minimize the home brewing. I recognize that that is not necessarily easy in some cases. Like we built Iron Man. Obviously, there's home brewing involved in creating Iron Man's suit. But try to keep the homebrew to a minimum whenever possible. The characters are all built at level 12, with the exception of one or two. But they're built at level 12. They are built using published sources, as in anything that is in a published book, Player's Handbook, Monster Manual, Volo's Guide to Monsters, now Xanathar's as well. And what else is there? And then any of the Unearthed Arcana are also fair game for this. To keep things on par with everything else, all the characters are built using the standard array, so that's 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. Rather than trying to roll for stats or doing point and buy, it just makes my life easier when you're trying to build as many characters as I'm attempting to build in a short period of time. It just works out better. So, let's start there with his stats. So we're going to go 15 strength, 14 con, 13 dex, 10 intelligence, 12 wisdom, 8 charisma. So, we'll go ahead and put in the modifiers for some of these that I don't think are going to change, which are those. So, Shrek is an ogre. That is his main thing. The problem being that ogre is not an existing race that you can play as in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Now we can try to see what we can get correlation-wise here. Between, we may have to actually pull some stuff up off screen here so we can open up some other windows while we download some things, because I realize that this new computer does not have all of the books on it. But there was, if I recall, in the back of the Dungeon Master's Guide, a section on stats for other creatures. So if we take Ogre and we try to fit that back into another race, I think we're probably looking at either half-orc or possibly just straight-up orc from Volo's Guide to Monsters. So we're going to download a couple of things here on the other screen while... nope, I'll let that go. See what you guys have to say here in the chat. Yes, he does have to have. As far as Donkey goes, we'll see what happens. There's been a lot of toss-up of how long should we, or not how long. How should we build Shrek? And surprisingly, this has gotten more like suggestions and conversations from pretty much anybody I know than over any of the other characters that I've built before. So he's a martial guy. I mean, before I jump into his racial stats, let's just think on the long term here. He's clearly a martial character. He doesn't have magic. We're not going to give him any spells, really. So then it comes down to what kind of character is he? Well, people are saying maybe he should be a ranger, so that he can have Donkey as an animal companion. Then people are saying that maybe he should be a paladin, because he can have Donkey as a fine steed. Then other people are like, well, maybe he should be a monk, because he fights only hand-to-hand. But I don't really... he doesn't define the discipline of what it takes to be a monk in my mind. So I'm going to say he's not a monk. I think that that's a reasonable assumption. Then it's like, well, is he a fighter? Or is he a barbarian? And my personal opinion, I'm leaning towards barbarian, and this is my show, so I'm going to go with that. But as with always on this show, I do take suggestions from you guys and alter my decisions based on what you guys come up with. But based on his anger issues, and, you know, the fact that he wears hide armor, or, you know, sort of in his, like, leather kind of things he's got going on, that I believe that he falls more under barbarian than any other class. Let's just grab Volo's while we're here, so we can have all of the books at our fingertips, just in case we need them. And now, there's this. And now we have Volo's. Okay, so we've got every book we need. We should be good. Let's see what you guys have been saying here. Yes, yeah, breath weapon. Okay, so we're gonna go with the 12th level barbarian. He's not the multi-classing type, and I think his background is gonna be hermit. He fits. I mean, again, reminder that backgrounds in 5th edition are sort of what you do before you start adventuring. And he was basically a hermit. You know, he lived in the woods by himself, or in his swamp rather, by himself. He is a hermit. So, yep. So let's see. Let's just flip real quick to see if I can find. Is it back here? Where it is in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Creating a monster. Is it here? It's somewhere around here where there's like stats for. I think here it is. Don't have Ogre. See, this is a thing they have for creating NPCs in the back of the DMG, and they have some races in here that are not listed and features that are listed in them that are not listed in their respect, or at least they weren't. Like, you can see some of these, right? Like, Aarakocra used to get +2 Dex, +2 Wisdom if you were building it as an NPC. It's since been released as a class. Same thing with, like, Why would a gnome get +2 and +1 strength? Why does First Nebulin get +1 strength, +2 dex? Doesn't make a lot of sense considering gnomes are intelligence based. Things like that, and you can see like Kenku just got +2 dex, Hobgoblin got nothing. This was for building NPCs back in the day, so I was hoping maybe we would have come across Ogre in here and been able to use that, but we're not. So let's go jump to the monster manual and let's take a look at how Ogre's stat blocks are, just to get an idea. So. Yeah, I think we're looking at probably either Orc Stats or half Orc Stats. So Ogre, they're clearly a strength and con race, right? And not very intelligent per Dungeons and Dragons. So let's just jump over here to Volos. And we will go to Monstrous Adventurers. And we'll look at the Orc Stats. See what we get. So Orcs get a +2 strength, +1 con, and a reduction to their intelligence by 2. +2 strength. You know what? We're going to switch these because we're going to be smart about this. So this starts at 16, and this starts at 16. So that was a 14, went to 16, 15 went to 16, and his intelligence goes down by 2. So it goes down to an 8. What else does he have? He has Dark Vision to 60 feet. What else? Aggressive as a bonus action. He can move. Oh, he has proficiency in Intimidation. A lot of people were suggesting that, so we've got that covered already. Powerful build. And then aggressive. Is this going to be formatted correctly that I can do this and it won't destroy everything? Hey, whoa, hey, that's not bad at all. That almost never works, and I have to type the whole thing out, which just adds to this new character sheet I found. That's like slightly more optimized. Goes way further. Hyper Troller can't use troll stats because there are no troll stats. So there are no stats for trolls either. So we're just using Orc because it's the closest. And then he's got powerful build as well, so he's extra good at carrying and lifting heavy things, which is good because he carries Fiona, and I mean, not that Fiona weighs a ton, but, you know, things just running around doing other things while just carrying a bunch of weight and seems to not affect him at all. That's ass-ressive. I just noticed that. Did you guys see that? Shrek is ass-ressive. Yep, ass-ressive. Maybe that's another name for, yes, correct. So let us jump into, we're going to start with the player's handbook, and we're going to go to Barbarian. You know what, let's go Hermit. Let's go to Hermit first, and, from Hermit... oh man, they don't have these spelled out, do they? No. Well, that's kind of annoying. I'm gonna have to alter this PDF. Alright, so Hermit, we'll get that stuff out of the way. So that's Medicine and Religion. Very Shrek-like. Not at all. Medicine and Religion. Anything else of use? Herbalism Kit. Okay, so he's got an Herbalism Kit. That sort of makes sense. He kind of makes his own food and all that kind of stuff. And languages. We're not really focused on languages in It Builds character because, you know, it's a function of where people come from. So that's pretty much what we're going to grab here. So he's got Herbalism Kit, Intimidation, Medicine, and Religion. Now let's go back to Barbarian. Okay, starting off, we've got Strength and Constitution saves. Got that there. And then he's got 2 from Animal Handling, Athletics, Nature, Perception, and Survival. See, this is tricky because Shrek is clearly athletic. He's probably good at the survival skill because he lived alone in the swamp for however long. You gotta say that he's good at animal handling, right? Because he deals with Donkey. But at the same time, is it animal handling? Because Donkey's intelligence, it sounds like that's more persuasion then, or deception, honestly, with Donkey in a lot of situations, not animal handling, because, and you guys may have your own opinions on this, but the way I handle things in my games is if the creature that you're trying to control is a reasonable being and has intelligence, and potentially has the ability to talk or things like that, it is no longer an animal handling check. Like, you obviously don't animal handling check a dragon, right? Because a dragon is intelligent. You persuasion check a dragon. Things like that. So, I don't think we're going to give him animal handling. So, I think based on the feats of rescuing Fiona from the tower in the first movie, and I will say up front, I have seen every Shrek movie, but I'm focusing probably more on the first movie, because that's where we sort of see him do the most adventuring style things. So I'm going to give him athletics, because I think he does it, like, running through, avoiding fire from a dragon, all of that stuff. So I'm thinking that that sort of makes the most sense for that. So, we've got perception. You know what? I'll make a case there in a second. So we're basically now at perception or survival. Where we've narrowed things down to. Is he perceptive? See, this is the part where I have to get out of my own head. Because I'm like, this is 5th edition. You obviously take proficiency in perception. But that's just because that's the best skill in the game. So I think we're going to give him survival. And I think we're going to sub out religion for performance. Due to your guys' point about him singing and dancing and all that good stuff at the end scene. So we've got currently athletics, intimidation, medicine, performance, and survival. So that's what we've got there. Let's jump back to base barbarian. Alright, so he's got rage. Alright, that's his main feature. Rage. So that is going to be at level 12. How many times? 5 times per day. 5 times... let's go 5. A long rest. That's going to be resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. How much is the rage bonus damage at 12? Plus 3 damage with strength-based melee attacks. It's a bonus action. There's one other feature that I never remember. Oh, advantage on strength checks. Okay. So that is something. So that is his rage feature. He also has unarmored defense, so his AC is going to be equal to his dex plus his con. At the current, that is a 14. That will change over time here. Oh, and his speed is going to be 30. That's actually going to change to 40. I might as well just make that 40 now. So we got unarmored defense, 10 AC, 10 plus dex plus con. And then we've got reckless attack. Attack. That's not how you spell reckless. I think it's with just an R, right? Brain. Advantage on attacks for a round. That means advantage. Danger sense. Advantage on dex saves versus things you can see. I believe that's it, right? There's nothing else. Yeah. Okay. So, why don't we go ahead and do his stats, too. We'll jump down here and put in ability score improvements. He's a barbarian, so his are pretty much going to be spoken for. So, at 4, Shrek's strength is going to go up to an 18. At 8, his strength is probably going to go up to a 20. And then... Awesome! Thank you, Juice, for tweeting stuff out. Yeah, it builds character varies. We sometimes have... I don't expect a ton of turnout tonight, mostly because we were off the last 2 weeks in a row since I was on the Venture Maidens channel. Which, by the way, that video, episode 30, the last episode I was in, and the completion of the Venture Maidens Prime stream for this year, as well as the Soya, the character Soya, her arc completing, that is now available on YouTube and podcast things. And then at 12, we're just gonna give him 18. Unfortunately, he's not. You know, he's not a terribly deep character, right? He's Shrek, so he's not like a super, it's not super. He's not really big into feats. I really don't feel like he's a feat type guy. So I'm sorry, I spoke too soon. Yes, my mistake. Layers. Okay. Mechanically, he's not too deep in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So his AC currently is 15. This is 1. This is a 9. 1, 8. -1, 1, -1. Alright, let's just go ahead and fill out these, because I don't think these are really going to change as we go through here. So -1. Athletics is a 9. Deception is a -1. I'm going to attribute, I know we talked about him possibly being proficient in deception. I'm just going to attribute his being able to deceive, Donkey as more of a function of Donkey's insight rolls rather than Shrek's stellar deception checks. Let's see, performance is a 3, -1 persuasion, -1 religion, 1, 1, 5, and that's an 11. Yes, Juice. There are, I shouldn't say that. There are other character sheets that people have built. More Purple, More Better had one for a long time, but I actually believe his got pulled. More Purple, More Better had a character sheet on the DM's guild, and it was less a character sheet and more of basically a character builder in that it had all the information and it auto-populated it. You will find versions of character sheets out there. This is just a form-filling PDF. Like, I will print this PDF, like, to do physical character sheets. Like, here is... nope, that's... Spoiler, if you saw the name. So, that's fine. But we'll keep going here. So, Danger Sense. So, we are now at level 3. Shrek needs to choose his Primal Path. I think we can go ahead and say that Shrek is not an Ancestor, a Storm Herald, or a Zealot. So Xanathar's is out. That leaves us with... Frenzy, Berserker rather, and Totem. I'm gonna go with Berserker. I mean, one, for the essence of time, it's easier, right? It's an easier thing. But again, he's not like someone full of a bunch of mechanics as far as D&D goes. So I think the extra attack he could get by going into a Frenzied Rage makes more sense. Katie, I actually thought about Onion Totem as I said the words, but I'm not going to. Maybe maybe if I have time, or I can convince Firebringer Axel to write up an onion totem. By the way, if you guys are in our Discord, I will put out the link to the Discord right here. So if you guys are in our Discord, my friend, and he was part of the 24-hour stream as well, Firebringer Axel, he is at least in my opinion, he does some of the best Dungeons & Dragons 5e homebrew stuff. I really enjoy his stuff. It's usually very well balanced. It has a lot of thought into it. He has actually designed 2 classes for me that I was very excited about. Subclasses, a Bard subclass, and a Cleric subclass that I like won a contest and he did for me. It was very cool. But he's probably in the Discord right now. If you guys want, you should just go hit him up and just throw like an @Firebringer Axel and be like, hey, we're doing stream right now. Ted's doing a stream, but there's been talk about, you know, an onion totem barbarian. What do you think? See if you can't convince him to do it. Let's see. Maybe I missed something. So, yeah, I would possibly I could make a homebrew barbarian totem, the onion totem. I definitely could, although I'm a little strapped for time with everything else that's going on. Oh, the 24-hour coffee shop D&D stream. Yeah, that's gonna happen next year. That's not happening this year. That may be next year's 24-hour Extra Life stream, potentially. I've been writing some stuff behind the scenes, so we'll see. That's started out as a joke, might become an actual thing, because we pretty much just to jump off topic of Shrek for a minute, talk about that since Juice brought it up in the chat. Yeah, we talked. We pretty much beat the storyline that I had for this 24-hour Extra Life stream. Like it's pretty much hit its point. Like it's done. What song is this? Wow. It pretty much is complete at this point. That storyline. I don't think there's much left to explore. So we need a new storyline. And as a joke, we talked about a 24-hour D&D coffee shop stream, where all of the players are workers of their, they still have classes and they still have races. And they, what's it called? They, wow, words. The players are working at the coffee shop, and like when they leave, that's the shift change and new people take over. But that's next year. Hypertroller, to your point, but what happened with the gourds? I still have to release those videos, which I will be doing over the next couple days. So the 5th session should come out maybe tomorrow or the next day, and then I have to edit the last 3 sessions of this year's 24-hour live stream, and then you'll see what happens. I'm not going to spoil it. You'll have to go and wait and see. So back to my point that I was trying to get to a while ago, is that we're going to say Shrek is Path of the Berserker. So that's going to give him Frenzy. And then Frenzy, he can go into his bonus action. Let's see. Make a 3rd attack as a bonus action. 1 level of exhaustion afterwards. I'm going to give him extra attack because he gets that at level 5. And then what else do we have? He gets his extra movement at 5, so we did that already. Here. Then 6, he gets Mindless Rage, so we're gonna jump down here for that. Oh, so we should put these in here. So we did those already. +2 strength. +2 strength. +2 con. Mindless Rage. Which is... can't be charmed or frightened while raging. Can't be charmed or I don't think I put notifications on this stat, but thank you, Zeker, for following. I didn't put a notification on this channel because I'm dumb and I just forgot to do it. So, while raging, jeez. Alright. So then we have Feral Instinct at level 7. Feral Instinct. Yeah, my notifications aren't on. I'll make sure I have them on for next time. Advantage on initiative. Initiative. Can avoid being surprised if you enter a rage. Oh, did you guys actually go and ask him? You guys are hilarious. Oh man, he's a great guy. I highly recommend you check out his stuff. I think it's Firebringer Axel's Junk on Tumblr is where he posts most of his stuff. But they are super good. There's stuff from all over the place, from new races to subclasses and things like that. So it's worth checking out. Alright, so, you can avoid being surprised if you enter a rage. That's the first thing on your turn. Can you do that as a reaction? No, okay. So then, that was 7. 8, we bumped a stat. 9 is, Brutal Critical. So we got Brutal Critical, 1 die. Then at 10 we have Intimidating Presence. Intimidating Presence. What do we have here? Action to frighten someone. Makes a wisdom save. I think, is that accurate? Plus your charisma mod? That seems like an awful idea. Should be con mod, or at least their strength. On subsequent turns. Okay. Action. Action to frighten frighten a creature. Doesn't have to necessarily be an enemy. Frighten a creature. Creature makes wisdom save. Zeker, thank you. This is our 16th episode. We have built all sorts of characters in the past. It started on a whim right after the Castlevania Netflix series came out. Castlevania is one of my favorite video games of all time. So I built Trevor Belmont as the very first stream. I think actually, do I have can I do this? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So that that's I have to change it because we start at 10 o'clock, not 9 o'clock now. But basically, you can click that second link in the thing I just popped in the chat to see the playlist of all the videos we've done so far, or the first one to see what the future plans are and what we've done already. Or use an action on subsequent turns to extend it. What do we get at 11? Relentless Rage. Okay, I think we're not going to get much else here because it's 11 and then 12 is the ability score. Okay, so Relentless Rage. Well, we can actually just copy this because we don't. We're pretty much at the end here. Okay. Let's see. No, what did he... I'm gonna look up what he said right now, and I will read it out to you guys. Alright, so what did Axel say? One of the features would definitely be Malodorous Mania. Starting at 3rd level, when raging, you are suffused with the stench of more onions than any mortal being should ever reek of. Creatures that start their turn within 5 feet of you must make a Constitution saving throw DC 8 plus your proficiency plus your con mod. On a failed save, the creature is poisoned for 1 minute. On a success, the creature is not poisoned, is immune to the feature until you rage once more. He's awesome. So that's basically that. So I'm just gonna respond to this real quick, guys. He's great. I love his stuff. I will post the link to his stuff in the chat here in just a second. You guys should check. Okay. Yes. So I don't want to get off track here. But honestly, oh, you know what? We need to pick weapons and do his hit points. So let's do that, because that needs to be done. So, hit points, he's got a 4. 11 times 11 is 121. Plus 16 is 137 hit points. So that is that. And this is 11 or 12, D12. So that's handled. So we have all of his racial features. We have all of his barbarian features. We have his ability score improvements. He doesn't have any spells. So the true question is, we need. I mean, Shrek doesn't fight with weapons, right? I mean, I guess he. Did he ever use a weapon? Am I blank and drawing a blank on that, guys? I mean, we know he used his fists, so we have. We can just write those down. Unarmed strike. Unarmed strike, which would be a 9, and would do 6 points of bludgeoning damage. I can't remember. I'll let you guys review, and you just tell me. How about that? Because I don't want to pull up copyrighted material. Because the way YouTube's just been a pain in the dick with any kind of ads and copyrighted stuff lately, it's just been a disaster. So I'll let you guys tell me. And then I'll go from there. I feel like I want to say I remember a lance, or I guess he does, like, he, yeah, he does use a lot of improvised weapons, which we may just give him something to kind of make up for, because he doesn't. Okay, well, first of all, let's talk about this, right? He doesn't have any magic items, which is usually what takes the longest part on these streams, is determining the character's magic items. So we're gonna just give him. We're just gonna not worry about that, right? Because he doesn't really have magic items that are like something that he constantly carries with him. So I'm not worried about that. I'm not counting when he was turned into a human because we're building Shrek the Ogre, not Shrek the human. He does kind of wear that like leather armor, but at this point, leather armor would make his AC lower at this point. Because it would, even studded leather would make his AC 13 as opposed to the 15 that it is right now from adding his dex and his con. So we're going to keep that the way it is. He also gets hit a bunch, so his AC, I'm going to say, is not that high. But I do think we are going to give him the Tavern Brawler feat as just a bonus, because we can. I don't know why these things are highlighted. Oh, people actually went back and put errata stuff in here. Man, I should get this version of the Player's Handbook on my phone. That's pretty cool. Look at that. Alright. You're already proficient. So, we're gonna go, and we're just fine. It gives him a +1 to this, but that doesn't change anything. And we're gonna give him the Tavern Brawler feat, which gives him proficiency with improvised weapons. His unarmed strikes do a d4, so this becomes 1d4 +5. Improvised weapons, which is now 9, and again 1d4 +5. And he can also, with an unarmed strike or an improvised weapon, he can use a bonus action to attempt to grapple. Proficiency. What the hell song was this? Oh man, we're gonna jump down here to this one. I forgot I put all of the music in when I upgraded the computer. I didn't pick and choose my songs like I normally do. Proficiency with improvised weapons, unarmed strikes, deal 1d4. So, there we have it. I mean, he does do a lot of grappling, so the fact that he has a grapple feature now as part of his class makes sense. So let's do a quick once-over, because I think we're pretty much done with Shrek at this point. We can see his stats are as they are. Pretty reasonable, I'd say. We gave him proficiency with athletics, because it makes sense. Intimidation, because it came with his race. Medicine, because it came with his background. We swapped something out to give him proficiency with performance because of his singing ability, and survival because he lived in a swamp. Herbalism kit also sort of makes sense. As you live in the swamp, you probably learn how to make sort of herbal-based remedies. His primary attacks are unarmed strike, because he punches a lot, dealing 1d4 +5, and improvised weapons like chairs and other things like that, so he has 1d4 +5 with those. He has dark vision, he has expanded carrying capacity, he can rage 5 times per long rest, giving him resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, extra damage on melee-based attacks, including his unarmed strikes or improvised weapon attacks. It also gives him advantage on strength checks. He has a higher than normal AC from his thick ogre skin. He can choose to attack recklessly and gain advantage on attacks, but provoking advantage. His advantage on dexterity saving throws against things he can see, which explains how he can avoid things like dragon fire and falling bridges. If he decides to enter a frenzied rage, he can make a third attack as a bonus action, but he gets a level of exhaustion afterwards. He makes 2 attacks on the regular. He can't be charmed or frightened while he's raging. He has advantage on initiative, and he can avoid being surprised by entering a rage for the first thing on his turn. He has brutal critical for 1 die, so when he rolls a critical hit, he does the normal critical damage and adds an additional die. He can choose to try and frighten a creature as an action with his intimidating presence. He also can continue to rage, basically to keep himself from dying by going from 0 to go to 1 instead. And we gave him the Tavern Brawler feat so that his improvised weapons could be better, as are his unarmed strikes. And when he hits a creature with either an unarmed strike or an improvised weapon, he can use a bonus action to attempt to grapple them, which sort of makes sense since he did a little bit of wrestling stuff at the beginning. Unfortunately, guys, I think that's probably going to bring us to an end here for Shrek. I mean, he's not, ogres may be like onions and have a lot of layers, but Shrek, the 5e Dungeons & Dragons character, unfortunately does not, as he is fairly mechanically mundane, I guess would be the best way to describe it. So, I appreciate you guys all coming out to check out itbuild's character. We're watching some stuff about 3D printing, but that's besides the point. Let's go ahead and look at where we're at. So, this is actually going to have to be shifted, because, oh no, I did it already. So, here you can see all of the streams we've done so far, and there are links. This is, what is this, bit.ly/IBC plan. But basically, you can see all of the stuff all the streams we've done so far, and the times I've taken vacation or things that have happened in the past. Twitch breaking, I slept through the stream, I was out of the area for work, or things like that. Yep, I did Captain Jack Sparrow a while back. So far, you can see, sometimes I build suggestions as a build type, like something like a polearm. One of the suggestions I had was a polearm wielding bugbear. The rest, that was the only suggestion I was given. The rest was on me to determine. One time I was told to build the most dragony dragon, so that was to try to make a character that had the most dragon-inspired things involved in one person, and I did that. I also had one that was just a warforged pirate. So those I get the opportunity to build myself, and then I'm given the liberty. Sometimes people say, will you please build this character? Again, I'll put the link in the channel again for you guys. The top link is this spreadsheet that I'm looking at. The bottom link in that chat command is the playlist on YouTube. So you can see everybody that I've built so far, from Trevor Belmont to Tony Stark and Iron Man to Groot, Samurai Jack, Sephiroth, you name it, I've built it. We just did Shrek today, so next Wednesday I will be building Link from the Legend of Zelda series. I have not decided which Link I'll be building, which I will try to figure out beforehand, because that makes a big decision on what I do. And, you know, a million magic items, because it's Link. And then you can see we have things going all the way into April. We have Leroy Jenkins, Ghost Rider, Tingle from The Legend of Zelda, a Power Ranger, Guts from Berserk, Kenshin, Hamura Kenshin from Rurouni Kenshin, a level 20 character, but I think the caveat for this level 20 character was they had to have at least one level of every class, I believe was the caveat for that one. Steve Rogers, is the giant turtle monster for the Godzilla verse. Is that Ghidorah? The giant turtle monster is not technically, it's I think you're thinking of Gamera. Gamera is the giant space turtle with Gamera that could like fly with rockets in his shells. Gamera is technically his own universe. They may have done a crossover with Godzilla at some point, but Gamera comes from his own series of movies. I really, if I have the choice, I'm gonna build Ocarina of Time Link, because that's my favorite Zelda game and favorite game period of all time. So if I was gonna build one singular Link, that would be the one I would build. But I'll see. Maybe I'll do Breath of the Wild just to be wonky. I don't know. We'll see. It also doesn't mean I can't do additional versions of Link in the future. When I build one Link, doesn't mean I could build more. Got level 20 characters. So Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, and the caveat to that is I already built Tony Stark, Iron Man, and I will be building Captain America in February. The follow-up to that is when I finish building Captain America, I'm going to attempt to get probably Sean and Jake to do a character showdown to reenact Civil War, to have Captain America fight Iron Man to basically the death, to see who would win in a fight, the Iron Man I built or the Captain America I built. So that's a thing. Then I have the 10th Doctor, but the angry 10th Doctor, Castiel from Supernatural, Dream from the Sandman Chronicles, Flapjack from the Fantastic or whatever Adventures of Flapjack, Beowulf, Gilgamesh, a Bloodstorm Blade, which is basically the attempt to recreate the 3.5 character build of the Bloodstorm Blade, and then Red from the Pokemon series, or Ash Ketchum from the Pokemon series, whichever one you prefer. I'm probably going to build Red because Ash is an incompetent battler and Red is awesome. I don't feel like... See, the thing is, no, Doctor Strange isn't on the list. Juice, is that a formal request to add Doctor Strange to the list? Because I will do that right now, if that's what you want. And Hypertroller, Gamera wouldn't be a turtle because Gamera is huge, like is gargantuan size, and also has magic powers. Is not much of a raid, like he is like, I don't know. We'll see. I feel like somebody suggested Godzilla at some point. Maybe I just forgot to put it on this list as well. Alright, Doctor Strange. We'll add him to the list. I have to go back and comb through, as there have been additional requests in the past, to make sure I add the right everybody in. Here, let's see if this song... It does, Katie. Is there someone you would like me to build? Yes, who would you want me to build, Katie? Tell me right now. Or later. But before I go in and put somebody else in here. Okay. I will add one in. You said Corvo. I'll add him in. I'll just add him to the list here. Dishonored. Sure. That'll be... I won't put in the dates yet, Katie, so I'll wait for that. You want me to build you? Yeah, alright, yeah. I remember you did that for Out of the Abyss. Although that didn't end so well for you. Yes. So, I will... Again, you guys can always also suggest them on the comments on these... If you're watching on YouTube, you can add them to... the comments on the YouTube video. You can send them via social media, all of that good stuff. So I will go back. I have to comb through my previous YouTube comments, as I do believe there are some ones that I missed that are not on this list that I have to add in. So I will do that in the past. Also, I will say, to your point from before, Hypertroller, is Gamera is not a character, right? Like, you can't put a giant kaiju monster into a character. Like, it just doesn't work. So, I could potentially build Gamera, but Gamera is not a character and does not have class levels. Gamera is a monster that you would fight, like a Tarrasque, on that level of things. Similar. There is a Godzilla that somebody homebrewed floating around, which is pretty solid if you haven't seen it. Let's go over here and go to one last thing before I go. Alright, last thing. Yeah, actually, Hypertroller, a dragon turtle, is probably your best bet to just build Gamera. Honestly, it's so damn close that might not be a bad thing. So, I will put the link here. We talked about Firebringer Axel a little bit. He already suggested some builds of the Onion Totem Barbarian, which may or may not become a thing. But you can see this is the link to his Tumblr account. He does also have a Discord. But you can see here he does, I mean, and they all look professionally done. Like, here is the title domain cleric. We see the path of the hurler. So this is basically a thrown weapon-based barbarian. I will drop it in the Discord as well. So we see the Foehammer. This is a fighter. School of Swole for your wizards. You want to be the muscle wizard and cast fist. This is how you do it. You take this. You go into the School of Swole. And we have some more kind of Chultan themed ones. This is one that he actually built for me, the College of the Connoisseur, as well as this one, which is the Harvest Domain Cleric. He built these two for me, so those are very cool. Though I'm partial to those. But then there are things here, like here are just items, magic items, and then again, Rune Warrior, a Drowborn on the surface, you know, things like that. Path of Explosions, Oath of Fortune. Probably another one of my favorites is the College of Metal Bard. I love this one. Personally, I want to try to find a game where I can play the College of Metal Bard. I think it's awesome. Again, I can just keep going here, but you can see that there's a ton of awesome stuff. Young adult dragons gives you some intermediary dragons. Yeah, I mean, College of Dance for the bards. So there's a dance-based bard. Yeah, I highly recommend you check out his stuff. It's pretty great. And it covers a lot of stuff. And he's always open to suggestions. There's a whole set of dire animals for your game. There's a cool reliquary, sort of divine-y based rogue. And then you've got some like orb shields, like modern, D20 modern kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna stop scrolling through things. One of his original ones was one that I super liked, which was the School of the Mesmer wizard. So it was built around the Mesmer. He did the Dust Bunny, the Dust Bunny Swarm, for your low-level challenge rating monsters. He built the College of the Mesmer School, Arcane School, rose-tinted binoculars, again, magic items. Alright, Katie, what do you want? No, Mesmer from the video game Guild Wars 2 in 5th edition. Hal from Hal's Moving Castle. Okay. I'll rearrange the dates as we get closer. Or when we're off stream here. So, yes, one of the first homebrew things I ever found for 5th edition was his Mesmer. And I'm a huge Guild Wars 2 fan. I've sort of fallen off the bandwagon for it, but I do love me some Guild Wars 2. And it was a super cool illusion-based wizard. And that was what I found. So that sort of is my little history there with actual stuff. So, we'll get a fun fact coming about Katie, and then we'll call it quits for the evening. Okay. Katie's obsessed with Billy Crystal. Well, Guild Wars 2 did have 2 expansions, and the most recent one. But anyway, I digress. So I don't know if they're still streaming, but I'll throw this up here. The girls, or at least 2 of the girls, Celeste and Brittany, from the Venture Maidens. Brittany, you'll also recognize from my Every Other Monday Princess of the Apocalypse game. Can we have me build myself? Sure, if you want. Do you want me to build myself as I see me, or do you want me to build myself like I did as the human class dungeon master? There was a someone asked me to. They donated to have me build myself as a bard, be inserted as an NPC. We're just gonna go back to the top here. Inserted into the Horde of the Dragon Queen game. So Ted the Bard is in. So me basically is in Horde of the Dragon Queen, one of the more recent episodes. I think it's called Teds and Turtles is the names of the episodes. So, Hyper Patrol, was that you? It might have been you. I don't remember. It's either you or Mud Puppy. One of the 2 of you. But anyway, like I was saying before I digressed, Celeste, who is the DM for the Venture Maidens, and Brittany, who is one of the players in the Venture Maidens game, and then also Lilith from my Princess of the Apocalypse stream. They started a stream at 10:30. I don't know if they're still going. This is sort of their kind of off week. It's a show they call After Hours. It is basically a roleplay space within the Venture Maidens universe, but it's sort of like a Dear Abby, ask the bartenders silly questions, and then they will answer them in character, in game. So I'm gonna throw a host to them when we end the stream here, but if you guys want to head over there and show them some love, that's cool too. So that is the link to their channel. Oh, do you guys want to do a formal raid? Okay, hang on. Let me get it set up, because I can do things for that. Hang on. Where's the raid tools? I forget, because they changed everything in here. Let's see. Hosted raid assist. Let's go. Don't split the podcast. Let's see if that worked. So, basically, that just popped up, so you can just copy that, where it says there, /me, and the thing with Nerd Immersion raid. And basically, what'll happen is when I go and put that over on their channel, when I post that, yes, basically, when I post that in the chat over there, anybody that follows suit and does that on their end, you'll actually get bonus flint bucks here, because it's tied to that. I forget what the flint buck bonus is, but you'll get bonus flint bucks if you raid. So, basically, I'm going to go do that as well. I'm just going to test it out in my own stream to make sure that works. Cool. It does. So I'm going to end this stream. So I will stay in the chat with you guys here. We're going to go to their channel, which I just posted that link. And then when I post this, you guys follow suit. And then you'll get flint bucks once I end the raid assist. So I'm going to stop the stream. I'll catch you guys over there and just watch for when I post. Then you guys post. Thank you, everyone, for coming out and watching YouTube. We love you. I will see you guys next week where I build Link, or Tuesday, the day after Christmas. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and all that good stuff to everybody. Next Tuesday at Tomb of Annihilation, we'll be back. So, thanks, guys.